Welcome to The Explainer. Look, if you're wanting the definitive, fluff-free breakdown of what's about to go down on the pitch, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're bypassing the rumors and diving headfirst into the hard data driving this massive 2026 World Cup matchup between Argentina and Egypt. We're talking stats, streaks, and discipline records to figure out exactly how these two totally different tactical machines are going to collide.
So, who actually takes the crown? We're reverse engineering the data today to answer that ultimate question of what the possible game outcome will be when the whistle blows. Because, it's really not just about who has the bigger names on the roster. It's about how their recent tournament performances stack up in a high-stakes pressure cooker.
Okay, think of this as the ultimate clash of styles. It is quite literally the unstoppable force of Argentina's perfect winning momentum smashing right into the immovable object of Egypt's gritty, unbeaten resilience. It's a classic football paradox, and the numbers behind it are absolutely fascinating.
Section 1. Argentina's perfect winning form. Let's start by looking at Goliath's arsenal and the sheer perfection of their runs so far.
Argentina rolls into this match as the clear statistical heavyweight, boasting a flawless 100% win rate across the tournament. Every single time they've stepped onto the pitch, they've walked away with a W. In a tournament this chaotic, keeping a perfect record is insanely difficult, and it just speaks volumes about their current tactical setup.
Just tracking their incredible 4-game winning streak, you can see their ability to consistently dismantle all kinds of defensive strategies. They started out strong on June 17th with a 3-0 shutout against Algeria. Then, a clinical 2-0 win over Austria, a 3-1 victory over Jordan, and most recently, a tighter 3-2 win against Cape Verde. They aren't just scraping by, you guys. They are finding ways to win no matter who is standing in front of them. We have to talk about Lionel Messi's absolute dominance right now. The man has netted an incredible 7 goals in just 4 games. 7. Just let that sink in for a second. Averaging nearly 2 goals a match on the world's biggest stage is a phenomenal feat. His clinical finishing makes Argentina an immediate lethal threat every single time they push forward.
Because of that firepower, with Messi and the rest of the squad finishing so clinically, they're generating a highly dangerous 2.75 average goals per game. Any team consistently putting up nearly 3 goals every time they play is just going to force their opponents into a corner, making them play reactively instead of proactively.
Section 2. Egypt, the resilient underdog. Let's flip the pitch and talk about David's grit, because Egypt is proving to be incredibly tough to break down.
They might not have that shiny 100% win rate, but despite only having 1 recorded win, a solid 3-1 victory against New Zealand, they boast a stubborn 4-game unbeaten streak. And that streak is highlighted by a massive, giant-slaying 1-1 draw against a high-ranking Belgium side, along with another 1-1 draw against Iran. What this tells us is that Egypt knows exactly how to absorb pressure against top-tier opponents. Offensively, Mohamed Salah is absolutely the engine for this squad. He's contributed a goal and 2 assists over 4 games to drive their counterattacks. While his individual goal tally might not mirror Messi's, his role as a creator and a focal point on the break is literally the core of Egypt's tactical game plan.
And backing Salah up is Imam Ashur, who has already found the back of the net twice in the tournament. He's going to be eagerly waiting to exploit any defensive lapses from Argentina. Having a secondary scoring threat means Argentina's defenders can't afford to just double-team Salah. They have to respect the very real danger Ashur brings to the final third.
But here's the catch. Despite being unbeaten, Egypt kinda struggles to close games out. They're actually sitting on a 2-game winless streak after those consecutive draws with Iran and Belgium. Being hard to beat is fantastic for surviving the group stages for sure, but to topple a giant like Argentina, they're gonna have to find a way to convert those gritty draws into an outright win.
Moving to Section 3, Discipline versus Aggression. This brings us to the real grime and glory of this matchup, deeply contrasting Argentina's clean play with Egypt's heavy aggression. The difference in play styles here is massive. Egypt has racked up 8 yellow cards across their campaign, compared to Argentina's mere 3. That is way more than double the disciplinary infractions. It paints a super clear picture of an Egyptian side that relies heavily on physical disruption and breaking up the rhythm of the game to survive against technically superior teams.
When you look at the top offenders, Argentina's cards are spread really thin. Paredes, Medina, and Montiel hold just 1 each. But 2 Egyptian players, Mohamed Salah and Yasser Ibrahim, individually hold more yellow cards than any single member of the Argentinian squad. Plus, key Argentinian players like Messi, Lautaro Martinez, and Alexis McAllister have played all 4 games without a single booking.
Because Lashin and Ibrahim are already sitting on 2 cards each, Egypt is forced into a major tactical dilemma. Do they play cautiously to keep 11 men on the pitch, or risk a red card if the game gets out of hand? Against a fast, technically gifted side like Argentina, playing cautiously defensively could be a disaster, but playing down a man, that would be an automatic death sentence.
All right, Section 4, predicting the game outcome. Let's synthesize all this data and actually talk about what we can expect when these two clash.
First off, we've got to acknowledge the mentality going into the fixture. Argentina's manager, Lionel Scaloni, has explicitly stated his team will give everything to protect their perfect streak. The emotional stakes are set. They are not taking their foot off the gas. They know they're the favorites, and they intend to play like it.
But hey, Argentina isn't completely invincible. The data shows they've actually become a bit porous defensively lately, conceding 3 goals across their last 2 games, 1 to Jordan and 2 against Cape Verde. This defensive vulnerability is exactly the crack in the armor that Salah and Ashore will be targeting on the counterattack.
Taking everything into account, the stats ultimately point to an Argentina victory as the most probable result. Their 100% momentum and Messi's astonishing scoring rate are just incredibly overwhelming on paper. However, a highly competitive, low-margin result, or even a draw, is totally possible. If Egypt leans heavily on that stubborn resilience they showed against Belgium, somehow neutralizes Messi without earning a red card, and perfectly leverages Salah on the counter, they could absolutely shock the world.
So, as you watch this match unfold, ask yourself, will Argentina's unstoppable offensive magic naturally prevail, or can Egypt's gritty, resilient counterattacks pull off the ultimate upset? The numbers are all laid out, but the beauty of the game is what happens next. Thanks for hanging out with us for this explainer, and enjoy the match.